Lesson 8.3.10, Coin Capture. This recording will walk you through the activity for Lesson 10, Coin Capture. You'll have two choices for how to complete this activity. You can watch this entire video, then complete the activity in Amplify, or you can complete the activity in Amplify as you watch the video. Either way, I will check to see that you've completed all the activity slides. When you finish the activity, you'll complete the practice assignment for the lesson. Today's lesson will show you how to write equations for vertical lines and horizontal lines. And on slides 1, 2, 3, and 4, we're going to start by thinking about vertical lines. Let's look at the warm-up. In this warm-up, you're asked to drag the 4 points to different locations, but the x-coordinate of each point should be 7. And then we'll talk about what would your and your classmates' points look like if they were all on one graph. So let me start by placing each of these points so that it has an x-coordinate of 7. I'm going to start at the origin. For an x-coordinate of 7, I just have to move to the right 7 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm just going to leave that first point there. The coordinate there is 7, 0. Let me grab another one. I'm going to start at the origin and move to the right 7. I think for this one, I want my coordinate to be 7, 3. I moved up 3, but it still has an x-coordinate of 7. You can place the other 2 points wherever you like, as long as the x value is 7. This is the point 7, negative 5, and one more. X value is 7. I'm going to put this all the way at the top. That has a x value of 7 and a y value of 10. And if I were to put everybody's points on the same graph, it looks like they'd form a vertical line, which is what we're talking about on these first 4 slides. Let's move forward. So here are the points that some other students graphed. Your points are in dark red. And if I wanted to write an equation to represent all the points with an x-coordinate of 7, I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. But I want to let you see what these coordinates look like, just for a visual. My first point was the point 7, 0. I think my second point was the point 7, negative 5. Oops. And my third point was the point 7, 10. Oops, I lost it there. You don't have to type anything on the screen, but I wanted you to see, just visually, that the x value in all of these coordinates is 7. And that's how we write this equation for a vertical line. X equals whatever x value they all have in common. Every point on that line has an x value of 7. So vertical lines are going to look like x equals whatever number all of those points on the line have in common. In this case, 7. And you can see it because it crosses the x-axis right here at 7. So let's do some more vertical line work. This is called coin capture today because you're going to be writing equations of lines that will capture these coins just like a video game. So let's enter some equations, one at a time, to send a line through the coins and capture them. It says try to use as few equations as possible, but we're going to focus on x equals some number that will make a vertical line. So here's my first equation, x equals, and I'm going to make a vertical line through these 3 points here. All of those points are going to have an x value of 4. You can see it would pass through 4 on the x-axis. Let's try it. X equals 4. There's the vertical line for x equals 4. Let's make another line right here. See if you can think of what x would equal for this vertical line. This time it's x equals 2 since it passes through 2 on the x-axis. All of those points have an x value of 2. Think of what the x value would be for all 3 of these points. I'm just going to finish up with the last 2, but I bet you could figure this out. X equals -2. And one last vertical line. Looks like it passes through the x-axis here at -4, and all of those points would have an x value of -4. So to make the equation for a vertical line, I'm going to start with x equals, and then there's a number. You'll be making a challenge later on, and if I make a vertical line and it just nicks these coins a little bit, it'll still capture those coins. So here we're told to enter equations one at a time to send a line through the coins and capture them, and try to use as few equations as possible. I think I can do it with 3 vertical lines. All of my equations are going to start with x equals. I'm going to start on the right. So I think for this vertical line that passes through all of these points on the right, or all those coins on the right, it looks like it has an x value of 3. 3 here on the x-axis. And you can see that if it just nicks aside, it'll still work. That line that's right there on the y-axis, all of those x values equals 0. And then finally, for these coins on the left, from the origin, I'm going to the left 1, 2, 3. I need a vertical line that passes through x equals -3. So that's how the vertical line equations work. X equals a number, and that number is where the vertical line would pass through the x-axis. Another goal of this lesson is to talk a little bit about slope. I'm going to read these directions, but give you some guidance for how to think about which of these 2 lines has a slope of 0. It says Lupe says that vertical lines, like the green one, have a slope of 0. Nikisha says that horizontal lines, like the red one, have a slope of 0. Whose claim is correct? I'm going to think about this as if I could make a slope triangle, even though you can see that between the 2 points, I can't make a slope triangle. It's already nothing but, well, in this top example, in this red line, from the point on the left to the point on the right, it's nothing but a base. If I tried to make any height, I wouldn't be on the line anymore. So really, the height of the red line, if I were trying to make a slope triangle, would be 0. I could probably find the base. From -4 to +2, that base is a distance of 6. Now, if you tried to find 0 divided by 6 on your calculator, you would get 0, because 6 times 0 is equal to 0. It's a little bit different for this one on the bottom. Let's take a look. This time, if I were to try to make a slope triangle, I couldn't make anything that had a triangle base without moving away from the line. So from one point to the next on this green line, I've got nothing but height and no base. So let's try to fill in what we would have if we had a slope triangle. From the point on the bottom to the point on the top, it looks like there's a height that goes from 0 to 5. So there's a height of 5. But this time, I can't make a slope triangle because I can't make a base without moving away from that line. So the base is equal to 0. Now, if you use your calculator up here and try to type in 5 divided by 0, let me show you what you get. It says it's undefined because there is no number that I can multiply by 0 to get 5. It's not the same as 0 divided by 6. I can multiply 6 by 0 to get 0. but I can't multiply 0 by anything to get 5. So the slope of a vertical line is actually undefined. On some calculators, it'll say error there, but technically it's called undefined. So Lupe says that vertical lines have a slope of 0, but he's wrong. The slope is undefined. Nikisha says a horizontal line has a slope of 0. That's what we have on the top here. She's correct. And I'll let you explain your thinking in the activity today, but you can't divide by 0. If you try, it will be undefined. All right, let's move back to writing equations for horizontal and vertical lines. So this time, we're going to talk about horizontal lines. This says to enter equations one at a time to send a line through coins and capture them. Try to use as few equations as possible. Well, I'm going to ignore this second direction because I want to make a point about how we draw or how we write equations for horizontal lines. So if I look at these top 2 coins, if I wanted to draw a horizontal line through them, I would think to myself, this coordinate is 0, 2. This coordinate is 2, 2. Both of them have a y value of 2. So this time, instead of x equals a number, I'm going to make y equals a number, and that'll give me a horizontal line. Let me show you. Let's do this next one. I'll get all 4 of these coins. The y value for every single one of those points is equal to 0. I'm thinking about this axis as a number line now, and it passes through the y-axis at 0. That'll give me a horizontal line that passes through the y-axis at 0. Down here, I can get a horizontal line that passes through the y-axis at -2. So I'm going to write y equals -2. And we'll do one last one. Horizontal lines are going to start with y equals, and then I just need a number. And that number is going to be where that horizontal line passes through the y-axis. In this case, it's going to be y equals -4. So now we've looked at horizontal lines that start with y equals a number, and we've looked at vertical lines where we had x equals a number. So we're going to make a challenge. I'm going to show you how you're going to make a challenge, and I'm going to put one in the activity so that you'll at least have one to start with when it comes time to spend a little time working on these. The directions are these. Drag all 8 coins from the bank to create your own challenge. When you finish, press Lock Coins in Place. Now this is an activity to practice with horizontal and vertical lines, so I'm going to make some that I know I'm going to be able to capture with some horizontal and vertical lines. Remember, they don't have to be exactly on a horizontal or a vertical line. Down here. As long as the line that I draw will nick it a little bit, it'll work. So I'm going to lock these coins in place. And then I'm going to write equations of horizontal and vertical lines to capture all of those coins. I think my first vertical line is going to pass through these. Remember, vertical lines are x equals a number. So this looks like x equals 1. You have to solve your own challenge before you can submit it. So I'm solving my own challenge. I think I can do another vertical line here where x equals -1. And for the last one, I'm going to do a horizontal line. My horizontal line is going to start with y equals, and it looks like it passes through the y-axis here at +1. And there we go. I'm going to go ahead and submit my challenge. and you'll have one to work on right away as soon as you submit one of yours. When I check on you later, I want to see that you've completed at least 5 challenges before finishing up. Let's finish up with these 2 slides. The goal today was to know what the equations for vertical lines and horizontal lines look like. So how can we tell from looking at a linear equation, like this and this, if its graph is a horizontal or a vertical line? Use the sketch tool if it helps to show your thinking. Well, the graph of a linear equation is a horizontal line when y equals a number. And that number would be where the line passes through the y-axis. The graph of a linear equation is a vertical line, like this green one, when x equals a number. And that number would be where the line passes through the x-axis. And to finish up, we should be able to show the equations for these 3 lines here, lines A, B, and C. A and B are both vertical lines, so their equations will both start with x equals. For A, looks like x equals -4, because that's where it passes through the x-axis. And for B, it would be x equals +5, because you can see the line passes through +5 on the x-axis. C is different because it's horizontal. I have to remember to write y equals instead of x equals. And it looks like it passes through the y-axis here at -1. So that's it. You should be able to, if you haven't already done it as we've moved along here, you should be able to complete all of these slides. If you need to return to this recording, feel free to do it. And remember, you'll be completing the practice assignment once you're done with all of these activity slides. Good luck.